and welcome back to Holy Shit, It's Almost October. There is something wrong with the passage of time. When September ends, the summer 2024 season of anime is going to end with it, and that means I will legally no longer be allowed to cover spring 2024. I'm binging last season, but there's so much more anime to cover, which means that on this week of binging last season, we are going over the rest of this pile of trash so you can figure out what you should spend your time watching and what you should probably skip, because this is binging last season and that's what we do here. Starting with the New Gate, better known as a new way to waste my time. The New Gate is kind of like if you made a Sword Art Online clone with all of the ambitions of being mediocre. It's another boring OP protagonist in another world surrounded by babes and another grizzled guild master gaining another OP spirit animal and being seeked out by another kingdom. And another old man friend character fighting another last fight, and yeah, it made me cry, but it didn't fucking deserve it, so it was annoying. Oh, and it's another season where the most exciting part happens halfway through. The ending is just kind of boring. If not for all the babes, it would have been a 5, because that's what it is. It's exactly average. But since Wilhelm was there, I gave it a 6. From wasting my time to wasting no time at all is Remonster, another show that I watched early because I got the isekai itch. See, I'm just a little isekai guy, you know? Looking for my little isekai wife, maybe get a little isekai house, have a few little isekai kids. In the time that I spent doing that bit, Remonster has covered serious plot points for its show. It just doesn't slow down. You could be mourning the loss of a loved one and it would be like, he was my brother and I will miss him dearly. It is a no-nonsense, natural order approach to what if this psychopath became a goblin, and that means that it does turn into a harem, but before episode 6, it is not impossible to watch with a friend. After episode 6, you might want to reconsider. While Remonster is undoubtedly trash, it is trash that respects my time, and I appreciate that. Gobji is the real OG, Kichi is the big homie, and I gave Remonster an 8 out of 10. I know, I suck. But don't worry, it can get worse, because now we're talking about a show that everybody has been pretty hyped for, Go Go Loser Ranger, which Let me just say this. Sometimes a show can completely go beyond the boundaries of its genre. Sometimes it can completely transcend it to a point where it's undeniably good. I've said before on this channel a ton of times that I don't like the futuristic stuff, I don't like the military stuff, but Kaiju number 8, I just gave a 10 out of 10 because it is completely undeniable. It doesn't matter what genre it's in. It's just that good. But not only does Go Go Loser Ranger not transcend its genre, I don't think it even subverts it that well. See, it's supposed to be about the Super Sentai guys, the Go-Go Power Rangers, right? But these Power Rangers are sort of evil. They're not necessarily on the good side in terms of morality. And while a dark look at Super Sentai could be interesting, this one really loses its own plot the entire time. You don't really even know which side you're rooting for most of the time, as the fighters aren't really good guys, the Rangers aren't really good guys, and the side characters that are maybe independent of both of those sides also aren't really good guys. Go Go Loser Ranger, I'm just going to call it Loser Ranger. Loser Ranger starts a bunch of stories in season 1. It goes into a bunch of different plot points and goes into the stories of all sorts of different characters, all these different paths that focusing on one could be pretty interesting. But instead of focusing on one, they kind of focus on all of them, but don't really focus on any of them. And it's just this sort of jumbled mess, kind of like my description right now. I don't think there's a single offshoot plot point that actually gets resolved in a satisfying way during season 1. By the end of episode 12, every single question that the show kind of asked along its runtime isn't answered. And I'm sort of left there going, well, what are we doing? Why did I just waste my time? And if you're a fan of the Super Sentai genre, then maybe you enjoyed this. But me, personally, not a fan as it is. The points where they sort of make fun of the genre, I just found to be annoying, and overall, I didn't enjoy it. If I had liked the genre at all, then maybe it would have gotten a 7, but for me, because of all of the issues, and because I'm not really interested in the subject matter to begin with, it was a 6. It just wasn't quite good. Maybe if you like the genre, it's a 7, but this has been getting rave reviews from a lot of people, and I don't understand why. And lastly, a show that I've been looking forward to making fun— wait a minute, is that Lieutenant Surge? Before I say anything else, let me just say this. Kadokawa just copyright claimed my Dungeon Meshi video the other day, and they took it down. Now, I've had a video get copyright claimed before, but they left it up. If I was making money on it, they would have taken the money, but at the very least, I don't mind if you leave my video up, but they took it down. Probably because I said something mean about him. Oh, well, boo-hoo, but fuck you! And Kadokawa was also the producer on God's Game We Play. Now, here's the thing. I actually kind of like this. There's a lot to dislike about it, but it kind of reminds me of No Game No Life if No Game No Life lacked a lot of the charm that it comes from its main characters and from its plot. The fight system is still there. It's based on normal games or games that you might be familiar with, twisted in some interesting way. And the very best one is the first God's Game that they play with this guy. This guy is somehow the most clever one across the entire show. You tell me how that makes sense. Minor spoiler for the best game in this series. It's in episode 2, so it's not that far in, but if you don't want it to be spoiled, then skip ahead 20 to 30 seconds. But basically, this game is a mix between hide and seek, freeze tag, and then by the end it's revealed that it's also Othello. And if that doesn't really make sense, give the episode a watch. I promise you, it's a really satisfying reveal. But what's not satisfying is the rest of the games. For the other 11 episodes, there's 13 episodes in this season, they're just not as good. They're not that interesting. And speaking of not that interesting, the main character is basically a piece of cardboard. If I took this piece of cardboard and replaced the main character with it across the entire series, pretty much nothing would change. There are some good side characters, there's a lot of ecchi, and for the most part, this is just kind of like a watered down No Game, No Life. And if I had to rewatch one of them 10 out of 10 times, I would choose No Game, No Life. At best, this is like a 7 out of 10. It's good, it's just not great, and it's been done before. So as you can see, based on Remonster being the highest rated show that I have in this special, I left all of the trash for the end of the season, and we're not even done, but don't worry, we still have another week until it's officially October, so next week will be part 2 of whatever this bullshit is. And I did try to save some of the best for last, as next week we're going to be covering Mysterious Disappearances, Train to the End of the World, and Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. I have been very, very curious about what these are about, and I think they're going to be pretty good, so check in next week to let you know if you should watch them, or if they're just going to waste your time. That's all for this week of Binging Last Season. Next week is the Holy Shit, It's Almost October Spring Anime Bonanza Part 2. See you then.